I've been thinking more and more about how chronic illness grief can mirror bereavement grief, mostly because I have expertise in the latter. One thing I deal with a lot is this level of denial, like having multiple worldviews at the same time and holding them in parallel. I'm horribly aware of all the things I can't do and almost like vigilantly aware to the point where I think about it every second, every movement. And at the same time, I have to be in denial to some extent because otherwise I wouldn't be able to function. It would be too much to deal with emotionally. It would be too upsetting. I would feel too futile. And part of that is that I've been indoctrinated into a capitalist society. Not only that, but a society which deems my usefulness in terms of monetary productivity and that exchange of goods is through money, right? And a lot of the inherent ableism people feel comfortable with, which comes down to the concept of eugenics, is I think people justify in their own minds because that's just nature. That if you can't be useful to society, then that's the survival of the fittest. Well, being useful to society is culturally specific and culturally relative. And I'm useful to society because I'm an amazing mother and I home educate my son like that. I mean, that's just one way though. And that's a different topic maybe I will talk about on another day. But so I have to have this level of denial. And sometimes it's not a helpful thing because it makes me feel invalidated in the help that I do need. For instance, at the moment, I'm telling myself that I can't be that bad because I'm downstairs in my living room. But this is what that looks like. It looks like removing the back cushions of my sofa to make it into a bed. It looks like never putting my feet on the floor. It looks like having blackout blind, I put foil on the windows to make it blackout because I cannot cope with the light, and it gave me an awful headache yesterday, but it also did this weird stuff in my eyes and made it really, really painful, which I kept looking at the camera. And one thing we do in bereavement grief is to cope with these parallel dualities of worldview, and the shattering worldview that bereavement as the moment of bereavement shatters our world. We have to remake it, and one of the ways we do this is by meaning making. So often you'll hear probably quite difficult things to hear when you've just had a bereavement, which is they're in a better place, or they were a good age, or they lived a good life, or loads of different ways in which it's almost to justify the death, that this could be a comfortable death because X and Y has happened, or she died peacefully, etc., etc. And another way might be donating organs, or that somebody does something with their life inspired by their bereavement experience, which is then productive to society again and back again. And I think meaning making is often what I am seeking, constantly seeking as somebody that's dealing with chronic illness, that I want to be useful in some way, or I want to make this situation positive for someone else or myself, or positive in a way that I can justify the tragedy or the death of my old life, of my old personhood. I think part of me feels that I want to leave some impact to the world, and I'm finding it hard to separate between what's my personal need and what is these, internalized ableism is so complex because you have to break down capitalism, you have to break down culture, you have to break down all of these things about what you think is success, what you think is productivity, what you think is giving some legacy to the world, making some impact on the world, and trying to throw away all those things that aren't helpful and find out what you actually really want.